Breakthrough Media.
To do a quick preface to this video, because I know a lot of the people that I interviewed today are going to be watching this, and I want you guys to know, if you are watching, I don't disrespect you as a person, but I think we all need to come to terms with the fact of what really happened at this March for Our Lives event, March for Our Lives event, which really essentially was March against our rights. You marchers marched against your rights today. So here's the real quick takeaway. The three things that they wanted to enact was ban assault weapons, ban high capacity magazines, and institute universal background checks. Now, one of the questions that I asked was, do you trust government? And then I would ask a couple of questions in between, and then I would come back to the do you trust government question. Now, when I asked, do you trust government, nobody said they trusted government. One person said that she did, and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust government? And she said a 2. So essentially, the person who said that she trusted government really doesn't trust government either. I would ask multiple questions about why they were here, what they were doing, and every one of them said, we want politicians to enact common sense gun regulations, gun control laws. So then later on down the line, I would ask them, so you want gun control? Yes, we want gun control. Okay, who do you want to control the guns? And you could see the wheels turning in their mind as they came face to face with the inconsistency in their own hearts and the inconsistency according to what they had just previously said, that they don't trust government. Because they're out there marching to have the government take away their rights, but it's a government they don't trust. So why would you ask somebody that you don't trust to take away your rights? It's insanity. There is no logical answer for that. And I want you guys, if you're watching, if I interviewed you, to know that it doesn't make sense. Think this through. You're marching down a street. You've already said you don't trust government, but you're asking government to enact laws that are not only going to take away my rights and the rights of every American, but they're also going to take away your rights. And who's the they that are going to take away your rights? People that you already admitted that you don't trust. Doesn't make any sense. The bottom line is, nobody has a higher claim over your life and property than you. To say that they do means to say that you think there's somebody on this planet that is somehow superhuman, that has some measure of authority higher than you, when they're just a regular human being. And the second thing is, it's never right to initiate unjust force or violence on people who have done no wrong. And that's exactly what a legislative act is. That's exactly what a law is. All laws are backed by the threat of force from a government that you don't trust. So guys, if you enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. I wanted to add something quick to this video. I think the majority of the people out at the march today want to see an end to violence. Who doesn't? But the problem is they're acting from a base of fear. These people are scared, and they're scared of things they do not even understand. I've asked so many people, what is an AR-15? What is an assault style rifle? Not one of them could accurately tell me the difference between a full auto and a semi-auto. Not one of them could tell me what an assault weapon actually was in their minds, or what an AR-15 was, or what the characteristics are. And anytime you have a group of people acting out of fear instead of from a basis of fact and logic and common sense. I mean, they're calling for common sense gun regulations, but they lack common sense because they're fearful. I just wanted to throw that in there because I really believe that their hearts are in the right place, but they're acting from fear and not from facts.
What specific change are you looking for?
just a complete ban on assault rifles. I don't think any civilians need them except for military and police officers.
You could potentially literally be talking to millions of gun owners right now.
Oh,
Would
absolutely.
you? And who own assault weapons? What would you say to them right now?
They don't need them. They
you-
don't need them.
So you want to create a law that's going to make them a criminal for holding something that they didn't harm anybody with?
Yes,
You want them to be criminalized?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Would you-
There's no need for them. If they want to go hunt, they can have a shotgun. They can do it in controlled settings. If they want to go shoot something like more than a shotgun, then they can go to a gun range where everything is controlled. It's in a controlled setting. They don't need to have it on a personal concealed weapon license and have it anywhere else outside of those settings.
So we're talking about you're for government control.
I'm for government control. Yeah.
Do you trust your government that much?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't trust them that much, but I do think that this is a step in the right direction.
Got the propaganda going on the Jumbotron screens. I don't know who the chick is that was just up there, but she said if they give us a bump stock ban, if they give us an inch, we'll take a mile. And that is the concern of every gun-owning American. In a nutshell, straight from their own mouths. What brings you out here today?
What brings me out here today is I have a 7-year-old and he's in school, and I want to make sure that politicians and I want to make sure that Congress hears us loud when they tell us that we need action. We need for them to protect the kids that's in school. We need them to care. We need them to protect kids, not guns.
Are you generally a person who trusts politicians?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough.
No.
I don't either. So what kind of laws or reforms would you want to see them make that would make you feel safer?
The laws that I would like for them to push most definitely is they need to regulate guns more. I don't think that no person needs to own an AR-15 to be able to, protect themselves. No person should be able to murder a mass amount of people within minutes. We do not need guns that has that type of capability, and they need to regulate those type of laws that can ban people from buying those type of guns.
Okay. Would you be for banning? You'd be for banning assault rifles then?
Yes.
Okay. Would you be for banning handguns?
No. I actually wouldn't. Now, if you have a handgun, that's perfectly fine. I feel like everyone has the right to protect themselves, but to be able to murder a mass amount of people within minutes, 17 people you're talking about in less than 5 minutes, that needs to be, regulated. Something needs to be done about that.
Okay, let me give you a statistic and I want to get your reaction. Over 80% of mass shootings are carried out with handguns.
That is shocking.
Guys, don't forget to hit the subscribe and notification button for all my daily uploads. Okay, what brings you out here?
The kids.
And what do you want to see changed?
I want to see.
Let's hold your sign up. Here's the sign.
Okay, here's my sign.
Let me put it a different way. If you could snap your finger and just enact a law right now, how would that law read?
The law would read a complete ban on assault weapons.
Do I support banning weapons that fire off 150 rounds in 7 to 8 minutes, weapons that are weapons of war that serve no purpose other than killing the maximum number of people they can? You bet I am.
Okay.
Heavy-duty background checks
We need to have universal background checks.
and making sure that people who have mental issues are taken care of long before it gets to the point where they can even look at a gun.
Okay, how about high-capacity magazines?
Nope, don't need them. What do you need them for?
What would you take the bullet limit down to in a magazine?
Enough to go deer hunting.
In your estimate, 5, 3?
Maybe 5, not more.
Okay.
What does it take to reload a gun? 2 minutes? Unless you're killing people, why do you have to reload quickly?
Now, that's okay. What would you say to the millions of people out there who own, say, an AR-15?
I would ask them, why do you need an AR-15? Who are you shooting? You're not shooting deer with it. You're not shooting bears with it. You're not going duck hunting. What are you doing with an AR-15? It's only good for one thing. Even the inventor said it was his answer to the AK-47. It's a weapon of war.
Weapons that are weapons of war.
It's not something that you should have in your house and rip people to shreds with because you got a bug up your butt.
You are 10 times more likely to be killed by a teen driver who's texting while driving than you are to be killed by any kind of rifle, including an assault-style rifle.
Okay.
Would you be for instituting banning cell phones for anybody under the age of 21?
Banning cell phones under the age of 21? No, because you have to look at it.
Because this is about saving life, right?
Right.
This 4,015 people died at the hands of teens texting while driving last year alone.
Right.
And only 323 died from all rifles.
Right.
Would you be for taking cell phones out of the hands of teens? No? Why not?
Because ultimately, I feel like that's something that needs to be, obviously addressed separately. Those two things can most definitely be addressed and be taken care of. I feel like right now we're focused on, this situation, this issue.
Guys, I have many more interesting conversations coming up from the March for Our Lives event that I'll put in subsequent videos. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon for all my daily uploads. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody you know.
Today's featured shirts are ban assault chainsaws, ban fully automatic power drills, and rooted in logic, not ruled by emotion. I'm adding new designs every week, so check back often. Your shirt purchase helps the channel grow. I'll see you guys in my next shadow banned demonetized video.
Our camera crew obtained exclusive footage of the March for Our Lives participants flooding the streets in protest as, for hours, they begged lawmakers to take away more of their individual rights. The most violent government on the entire planet, which wages more wars against more people, a government that, for one example of a plethora of examples, is responsible for the deaths of more than 500,000 Iraqi children, whom the Secretary of State at that time said were worth killing.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it. The price is worth it.
And the children of this violent nation are marching to encourage the government, that very same extremely violent government, to violently take guns away from its own citizens, some of whom own guns to protect themselves from the violence of government. So in essence, in the name of stopping gun violence, these marchers are begging the government to craft laws which they will enforce using state-sanctioned gun violence in order to get rid of gun violence. Hitler, Mao, Stalin, and Mussolini would be proud. If you enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, and share this with everyone you know.
96 people die every day from guns in our country, yet most representatives have no public stance on guns. And to that, we say no more. We can and we will change the world.
I was born and grew up in the shadow of the Holocaust, and in that period in this country, children were everything, especially in my community. So I've always been protective of children. I volunteer with children's groups, and this is about children and protecting them. Very important.
Are you for gun control?
I've never owned a gun. I don't understand what they're for other than in the hands of the police and the military. So I have no use for them, and I have no problem outlawing them completely. I understand that some people want them for hunting. People had them for hunting when I was growing up in the 50s and 60s and 70s, so it's okay if they have them, but not, I want much gun control. I want to go back to just hunters with their one rifle or two.
Generally speaking, do you trust politicians?
Not at all, and not in either party.
Do you trust the government in general?
Unfortunately, no.
So who should control the guns?
Who should control the guns?
Yeah, if we're pushing for gun control and we're out there begging politicians who we don't trust to implement gun control, should we really trust that?
If the government does one thing and one thing only, and that is that tears down the privately owned gun factories and gun industry, let the military make its own its own, control its own, the same with the police forces. It should be exclusively controlled by them. Obviously, we need government for our own protection. That's why we have a military. That's why we have police. They should control it. They should manufacture them. It shouldn't be part of a capitalist for-profit system.
Okay, so we're talking about a total gun ban, handguns, rifles, everything.
Yeah.
I think what needs to change more than anything is our wide open, everything is allowed, all places, all times gun culture. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Mental illness exists everywhere else in the world. Mass shootings do not exist everywhere else in the world. We can debate what the reasons are for that, but I'm not opposed to the NRA in general. I'm opposed to the silent people in the NRA who don't stand up for what they actually believe in. I'm not opposed to gun ownership, but it needs to be for a reason. I'm not opposed to hunting in any way whatsoever. I'm not opposed to home protection. That doesn't happen with an AR-15 with a 30-round magazine.
What the hell did you just say?
I'm not opposed to home protection. That doesn't happen with an AR-15 with a 30-round magazine.
A 15-year-old at home with his 12-year-old sister when burglars try to break in.
That's when investigators say the boy grabbed his dad's assault rifle and started shooting, and he hit one of the men repeatedly. This all unfolded this afternoon in the 2600 block of Royal Place Court. 11 News reporter Sharon Min Chow talked with neighbors and investigators.
Anxious family and friends crossed the yellow tape into a surreal crime scene. A 15-year-old boy and his 12-year-old sister had been home alone in the Mount Royal Village subdivision. And at about 2:30, a pair of home invaders tried the front and back doors, then broke a back window.
A young boy was protecting his sister. You know, he was in fear for his life and for his sister's life.
The brother grabbed his father's assault rifle and knew what to do with it. His dad is a Precinct 1 deputy constable.
We don't try to hide things from our children in law enforcement.
The children were not hurt. The home invaders fled, leaving a trail of blood. Two suspects showed up at Tomball Hospital. One, the adult, had multiple gunshot wounds and was flown to Memorial Hermann Hospital. The second, a juvenile, was taken back here. Detectives walked the suspect through the crime scene. Meantime, neighbors say burglars had recently struck the two houses next door, which included the deputy's home.
They stole everything, what they have inside. They already did it one time.
And this may be the last time, at least for these suspects.
I'm not opposed to home protection. That doesn't happen with an AR-15 with a 30-round magazine.
Let's say, I'm just going to give you a scenario and just throw it out there. Let's say 3 armed men broke into your house. You and your wife are in there. How would you... Three armed thugs with guns, yeah. How would you defend yourself and your wife?
I don't have the ability to defend myself and my wife. We would try to escape, and I would try to call the police.
Mr. McCartney, hi there. We're with CNN. Can we just get a quick question for you? Just give us a sense of why it was important for you to come out here today.
Just to support the people.
Yeah. What do you hope can be accomplished? Do you think that can happen at the legislative level? We've seen it happen at the state level in places like Florida and here in New York.
You know, I'm like everyone. I don't know. But this is what we can do. And so I'm here to do it. One of my best friends was killed in gun violence right around here. So it's important to me.
Understood. Thank you very much. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, most people...
Put more in.
Most people couldn't get out of the classroom fast enough, so would you rather be armed with a gun or a chair or a desk or what?
You know what? I would rather take my chances with my wits and what I have about me than put more guns in the school.
What the hell did you just say?
Are you for gun control?
Yeah.
Who should control the guns?
Who should control the guns? Probably the government.
Do you trust the government?
No.
You don't trust the government, but you want them to control the guns? Other than banning guns, what else would you like to see changed? If you could snap your fingers, for example, and create a law, what would it look like? What would it say?
Well, I would create a law just, I don't know. I don't know, that's a difficult question.
Would you limit high-capacity magazines or get rid of them altogether?
High-capacity magazines? Yeah. Oh, you mean for guns?
Yeah.
If we come together and vote for good politicians or politicians who care, then something will get done.
Can you name one point in history where politicians have actually listened to the people?
The one fact that you know is that when guns are there, people get killed by guns. When guns are not there, people don't get killed by guns.
Do governments take us to wars?
Do governments take us to wars? Yeah.
Do they steal our money?
Like taxes? I guess, yeah.
Do they waste our money?
Sometimes.
How about all the time? We're $21 trillion in debt. We're in a situation of transgenerational debt slavery where 4 generations of people won't be able to pay off the debt. So we know they waste our money, we know they take us off to war, and we know they can't be trusted. So why would you want politicians, honest question, fair question, why would you want politicians and government officials to control the guns? And what do you think criminals think about further gun regulations and restrictions?
Well, if it's actual criminals, I think they will do their best to work their way around any law that we put in. But I think that the harder we can make the accessibility, the more worth it. That's what we should be doing.
Have all these rules, and you think they'll save you?
Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Do you guys have knives in your house?
I mean, there are knives which are weapons, but we don't have any guns in our house.
Are you guys for an assault weapons ban?
Sorry?
Are you for an assault weapons ban?
Yes. Yes.
You guys all are?
Yeah.
Now, how would you guys define assault weapons? Because we've heard the term assault weapons a lot in the news. How do you guys define that?
I mean, anything that...
I'd say military grade weapons.
Yeah.
Like stuff that can... I read a definition for it, but I can't remember. I'm sorry. It's like if it can fire a certain number of rounds within a minute. I can't remember what the number is.
I know it's a pretty high number.
Since 1950, virtually all mass shootings have taken place in gun-free zones. Do you think gun-free zones are part of the problem?
Hell no.
Guys, if you enjoy this content, take a second and hit the subscribe and notification button for all my daily uploads. What if more people were killed with knives than there were with guns? Would you be for knife control?
No. There's people I think that obviously it's a lot harder to do more damage with a knife. It's a lot easier for somebody to come in hands with an assault weapon and just do crazy amounts of damage in a school or public place.
Okay, would you be for banning handguns?
No? I'd say not if people are educated on how to use them and how to safely store them.
Behind it.
Yeah.
If they're educated, then we can stop this from happening, But assault rifles...
What if somebody was educated using an assault rifle?
I don't think so. They're just dangerous.
They're very dangerous. I don't think anyone should have an assault rifle.
It's too easy to get out of hand.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you a statistic and I want to get your reaction. More than 80% of mass shootings are carried out with handguns.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that.
But the thing is, I just feel like it's
deadlier.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot deadlier with an assault. I feel like it's a lot deadlier with an assault rifle.
Since 18 to 21-year-old white males are predominantly the school shooters, how about we make a law that just incarcerates all 18 to 21-year-olds?
No.
White male?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not every single person.
There you go. So that was my point, is on gun control. Why try to control everybody's guns when most people are law abiders? Do you have guns in your home?
No.
Okay, do you?
No.
No guns? Or do you guys feel safer not having guns in your home?
Yes, definitely. Especially because I have a lot of little siblings, and I just feel like it's not safe.
It's not. I don't think so.
Okay, let's say 3 thugs came into your house armed with guns. How would you defend yourselves?
Go! All right. We're trying to go somewhere, so if we could go.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
no problem.
Thank you. Let me give you a statistic, and I want your reaction. 80% of mass shootings happen with handguns.
I thought it was always with the multiple rounds.
Well, semi-automatic handguns can hold multiple rounds, but most mass shootings, over 80% of them happen with handguns, not with rifles. So is it safe to say that you guys are both for gun control?
That we're what?
For gun control.
For sensible gun laws, yes. Gun safety laws.
No more automatic
Large magazines, assault weapons, absolutely.
So assault weapons ban, high magazine capacity ban. How low should they go with the bullets that a magazine can hold?
You're talking to somebody who's got some personal experience with gun deaths. And as far as I'm concerned, they can take all their guns.
Have you ever fired an AR-15?
No.
Have you ever held one?
No.
What's the difference? What's your definition of an assault rifle? And I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I really want to know.
Like a military-style gun.
Okay, explain what that is.
Like a big one that fires like multiple rounds.
Do you guys trust the government?
Not the current administration, absolutely.
Any government.
I think what we've learned in the past, we've learned that we have to have a voice in it. We are the government, and if we don't have a voice, then we abdicate our ability to trust or not trust. We have to.
Well, they just quoted a statistic out there that 97% of the American people want background checks. If that's true, and we are the government, why don't we have background checks?
That's an excellent question. I think
we must not be in control. So if it's like a wood gun with a black barrel as opposed to an all-black gun that looks military style, you'd want to get rid of the black style gun?
I'm more for like handguns and like the ones where you like hunt with, like for your family.
Okay, yeah, most people don't. Most people hunt with rifles, not handguns, just because of the accuracy and the distance.
Like the long ones, the shotguns or something.
Okay. Yeah, most people hunt with rifles. What do you think criminals think about strict gun regulations?
Of course they don't like it.
So if we make strict gun regulations, we can exclude the criminals because they're not going to obey it anyway, right?
That is true, but we will weaken that problem.
Is it ever right to initiate unjust force or violence on peaceful people who have done no wrong?
No.
So when we create a law, let's say 99% of the people create a law for the 1%, that 99% wants that 1% to submit to their will through that law, right?
That's true.
And the way that law is enforced is by the law enforcement barrel of a gun. So isn't that an asking government to initiate gun violence against people who don't want to do what the other people want to do?
That's how a country keeps control. That's a big part of the problem.
Through guns.
Absolutely, through guns.
I don't want to assume that my life as a civilian in America is a battle zone that I'm constantly prepared to defend myself against firearms with. That's stupid.
I believe that it's never right to initiate unjust force or violence on someone who hasn't done anything wrong.
Okay.
And so I don't think it's fair for the millions and millions of gun owners who have harmed no one to have a broad brush background check or limit high capacity magazines or ban any kind of assault style rifle.
What would be your reason for needing an assault style rifle at a high capacity?
It's not about need. It's not about need. It's about I have a right as a human being. For example, if I own 3 cars and my neighbor goes, "You don't need 3 cars. You only need 1." What do you need 3 cars for?
A car doesn't exist to kill people.
Cars can kill people. That's my point.
And so can this cup. If I use it the right way, I could punch you to death. I could kick you in the balls until you hemorrhage.
That's it.
None of those
in New
things
York, they
are
passed
purposeful weapons. What could you do useful with a weapon? All right.
Okay.
I
Thanks.
think I've made my point clear.
Yeah. I just the point is, I don't think it's ever right to initiate unjust force. And what a law is,
I don't think that right for you, even though it's on the books, is worth all of these kids getting killed in school. Right. If you really like to shoot targets, I'm sorry, you're the one who needs to change so that people don't keep getting killed in school.
Guys, if you enjoy this content, take a second and hit the subscribe and notification button for all my daily uploads. Guys, thanks for watching my video.